Hey everyone, this is Sunshine. I want to talk to you today about the 2019 Pisces horoscope. You'll notice that I break down the horoscopes for specific dates of Pisces because I don't believe that every Pisces will be affected the same way. You'll also notice the start date may be different. Like this year, Pisces start date began February 18th, but in some past years or older years, they may have begun the 19th. So again, it fluctuates just a little bit, but it does apply to this group nonetheless. So Pisces. So this is a chart. I don't know if you've ever seen a chart before, but this is it's the wheel, and every house represents different areas of life, but I won't get into that in this segment. But let's start with the Pisces beginning February 18th-ish to March 4th. No major issues this year for your sun sign. But those born between the March 1st and March 4th may have experienced things such as fatigue or illness, confusion, lack of clarity or direction last year. You also were very sensitive and creative at this time. You had to be very careful of not seeing people or situations for who or what they are. One thing with Pisces is they see people's potential. They see with rose-colored glasses. So for them, it's very difficult to not see or be realistic about who is in front of them because they see the best in everyone. So that can be a pretty big challenge for them. So it's really important that you do that at this time. You may also become very spiritual, religious to help make your path clear. A lot of that comes from Jupiter. Jupiter went into the sign of Sagittarius late last year. So it is really affecting your sun sign. It's also very important for you to, activate your faith and not be overindulgent in a lot of things. So remember, I'm only doing this for the sun signs, but those who are born in, the season of Pisces, other planets could be affected because your Venus could be in Aquarius, it could be in Capricorn, which is the sign that Saturn is in right now, or your Venus could be in Pisces or Aries, and especially if it's in Aries, it's squaring that Saturn. So your love life definitely could be impacted. Your moon sign, of course, could be anywhere in your chart. So you definitely have to get a personal reading to know if anything specific will occur for those born between February 18th and March 4th. Moving on to those born March 5th through the 9th, you may experience the things that the Pisces February 18th through the 4th experienced last year. So, that fatigue, the illness, confusion, lack of clarity or direction, you could have been or could be experiencing those at this time. You have to be careful again to make sure that you are seeing very clearly who you're dealing with, and focus on the path that you really want to go down. You also have to make sure you're being clear because you may be confused about a lot of things, so you may become confusing to other people. Again, be careful of not overdoing things, because when I animate this here, so let me give you an example. Go back to February 18th through March 4th. Pisces is goes to about the 14th of Pisces. So 0 Pisces to about 14 um, Pisces. And if I go back to the first, the reason why I mentioned this date in the earlier is because Neptune at that time was within pretty much exactly on your sun. So that make things very confusing. Things just may not be clear. So you may be very idealistic. So that's what you were experiencing last year. Is Neptune right now is going away from you. For those, born on the 4th, it's still kind of close to you, but again, it won't come back to that. So it's kind of going away. So the effects should go down some. But those born the 5th, Pisces is going to come back and, over that. Those born through the 5th through the 9th, you'll notice that Pisces will go back and forth over these points this year. So this is, a time, again, I said, where things can be very confusing. You may go to the doctor and they can't figure out what's wrong with you. You may have illnesses and it's like, what is going on? And it's that Neptune there. You may be very spiritual, maybe fantasizing a lot. Just kind of otherworldly. We know how Pisces can be. You can be kind of very, wishy-washy. So again, it's very important that you be very clear at this time. This is also a time of dissolving old ways of thinking or believing that isn't working for you. You have to be cautious and think things through completely. This is definitely a time of growth and expansion. You'll notice that Jupiter here will also go back and forth over these points here that your sun sign is in for those born between March 5th and 9th. And when you have Jupiter squaring your sun, not a horrible thing to have, but you can't be very overindulgent or overconfident. You have to be very careful with that overextending, maybe even overspending at times. So you got to be very careful with that. But it is a time of growth and expansion. So take that and, really activate your faith or your spirituality. That's very important for you right now, especially with the path that you are embarking on. Okay. So those born March 5th, 6th through the 20th. So you notice I overlapped some of that there. And that's just because this Jupiter here will go back over certain points. And then you have Neptune. But you see at this point, your sun sign is in, 20th of Capricorn. Of Pisces. And it'll go all the way until the end, until Aries. Okay. So again, you'll notice here that March 19th, Pisces ends. But if you were born in like the 80s, 70s, again, that these dates could fluctuate just by a day, just because the way the ecliptic is moving. Okay. But you have to be careful of not overdoing or overextending. Again, that Jupiter here will affect you. You have to be cautious and think things, completely through before you make any decisions at this time. Okay. Go back and check your work. Again, a time of growth and expansion. Opportunities could be presented to you. You have to have good discernment at this time and not be overly optimistic. Okay, so just be mindful of those things, okay, Pisces? This should be a pretty good year for, spiritual growth, okay? But just make sure you're taking your time, thinking things clear, thinking things through, and that you're seeing things for what they really are, so you don't get yourself in a bad situation. You may feel, there's a lack of direction, lack of clarity of things, lack of motivation. You just may not feel like doing anything. So, you need to pray for that strength, and so that you can continue to move forward with any plans that you may have set, okay, or any goals that you have. Get out there and be the Pisces that you are and help those in need.